Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. And this is another one of our games from the MSL100. You got NaDa on the left of your screen there, and Kingdom on the right, as they both flash away for the start of this game. NaDa versus Kingdom. This is from the MSL100. This is MSL100 number 89. This is considered to be the 89th best game in MSL history. And there were thousands of games, so that's actually saying something, even though 89 sounds like it's kind of high up on the list, right? In any case, got a fun match here for you guys today. NaDa versus Kingdom. NaDa, of course, the absolute legend of StarCraft. Now, Kingdom, he never really, and you know, I've said this, I've talked about Kingdom before because he is featured in a lot of these older games. So if you've been watching the MSL100 series or anything like that lately, you probably have heard of what I've talked about Kingdom. But he is basically one of the top few Protoss players from this period, which is 2004, if I remember correctly, when this was played. So he is like very, very strong player. And this was an era when there was not very many strong Protosses, or when Protosses were not able to accomplish a lot, maybe. Do you see that guy on the flip phone next to Kingdom, by the way, who's texting on a flip phone, I think? That's kind of funny. He's like texting someone 222-333-1122. Anyway, he's saying, "I'm right behind Kingdom. This is crazy. I'm sitting 10 feet away from a pro gamer, looking over his shoulder." Did you see him flip it shut? Oh man, good times. And now he sits down. That jerk. He was like standing in front of people the whole time, or maybe everyone was sitting down now. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, so point being though, Kingdom was one of the few Protoss players that was actually able to thrive in this time period, and I believe, I always forget if he got a gold or a silver. I think he got a championship though, but just the one. So he like didn't quite accomplish enough to, you know, match someone like NaDa in legendary status over the many years of accomplishments that NaDa was able to do that, you know. But he was still one of the strong Protosses of this era, and so definitely someone that can tango, even with NaDa, who right now is one of the best players in the world in 2004. You know, winning and getting to the finals and semifinals of multiple Star Leagues and stuff. By the way, so this is the map Parallel Lines 3. Which doesn't mean there's 3 parallel lines. It means there's 3. This is the third version of it. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the map up here for a second here so we can see it. This is an island map, and you can see that you know, there's spawn points around the map, but it looks like, actually, you know, I'm not sure. It looks like if you get the 2 spawns on the bottom left, like part of the map, it looks like those are connected by land. Oh no, there's connected to a little downward expansion, but not to the rest of the land. Although you could float over a building or something like that. Anyway, so this is Parallel Islands. It is an island map. It's a very interesting map. So that's why we saw both players go for very fast expansions. It's just basically, you know, if your opponent can't attack you, you're going to have to expand. And if they're going to expand, you have to expand also, because you don't want to lose the economic battle when it's going to be really difficult to attack them and punish them for that expansion. And sorry about the... Windows always picks the stupidest times to just pop up pointless freaking alerts. It's really obnoxious. Don't get me started on Windows Automatic Update, which is bane of my existence. I really like this layout, by the way. This is a kind of a cool layout that they have right now. I've been doing a lot of broadcast design lately, so this is something that's interesting to me, but it's kind of neat that they've got both players' first-person views, and they've got their cameras on the, you know, the corners as well, and the mini-map. The mini-map is featured on the bottom middle of the display, and that's kind of cool that they're featuring the mini-map. That's, I'm not sure if it's really that great, especially because there's not a whole lot going on in this game, but it's kind of like, I guess it's like a summary. Like, you've got NaDa's view, you've got Kingdom's view, and then you've got the summary of what's going on with the minimap view in the middle there. Anyway, I was wondering how long they were going to do that. That was in that view for a while. In any case, NaDa going straight into the starport. Once he got the expansion up, he went straight into some tech. Just powered straight through to that starport, getting a second factory as well. Would not be surprised to see him do some Tornado Terran Vulture drops. Even if this was not an island map, Vulture drops would be a high a degree of possibility coming out of NaDa for his build, so wouldn't be surprised to see that here. We've got Kingdom playing it safe. I mean, this is going to turn into a macro game, basically. When you've got an island map that's going for fast expansions, it's just going to turn into a macro game. And it's interesting that he's actually gone for a cannon in his main, probably because he knows that vulture drops are a likelihood, and he's been expanding and teching, so he hasn't really been able to put a lot of money into getting units to try and battle any kind of quick drop play. You can see I don't think he has a single I was gonna say Dragoon. I'll admit it. I don't think he has a single Dragoon. And then they cut to 2 or 4 Dragoons. So he's got a few Dragoons around, but they're patrolling the edges of the map, or the edges of his space, you know. They're keeping an eye out for any very quick drops, but he's also getting observers. His first observer is going to be popping out pretty soon here, and going to be traveling around the map to see if he can find where NaDa is. NaDa able to scout with his barracks. He has scouted the bottom left spawn, so he knows that Kingdom has to be on the top right area. Well, I guess it looks like NaDa's actually scouted. Well, let's just pull up the map here again real quick. So NaDa is in the top left of the map. He's scouted the other top left spawn and then scouted the bottom left spawn. So he knows where Kingdom is now just by process of elimination with that barracks floating around. Kingdom's going to have to catch up a little bit here. And so he's actually going to be able to send his dropship directly to Kingdom's expansion with these vultures inside. Actually, tanks inside. I was not paying attention to what was being actually output there. He actually put out tanks here, and these tanks are in a little bit of danger. They don't have much to defend themselves, and yeah, so the Dragoons are going to go over and chase that away. The cannon warping in at the natural expansion, just in perfect timing for Kingdom to fend off any kind of drops there. You saw the tanks were kind of trying to go behind the mineral line or into the mineral line, and they had to divert to the south into a more vulnerable position there. So Kingdom playing this very, very well, and he's actually... Is he making scouts? Is he making scouts? Is he making scouts? He might be making Corsairs, but he's got 2 Stargates, and I don't see a fleet beacon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're seeing scouts for Kingdom here, which is kind of crazy, but actually also really good, because Corsairs cannot kill dropships fast enough to actually stop them from dropping. But if you have a few scouts, you could target down a dropship very quickly, and of course they can fire down at the ground too. So any takes, he made Corsairs. Damn it. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. I was just starting to go into all the virtues of scouts and how this could be the one situation that maybe they're actually going to be viable, and then he makes Corsairs. But why is it he's making Corsairs though? Which is really interesting. I mean, I guess if he gets a critical mass of Corsairs, then those can be very powerful as well. Look at these tanks. He's actually got 3 dropships worth of tanks coming out here. They're just going to try and do battle straight with the Dragoons, and I'm surprised. Oh, and this is why. See, this is actually what I was going to talk about. Because the Corsairs are there, he cannot keep the dropships around. NaDa would have wanted to play... do a bunch of tactics, special tactics with the dropships, picking up the tanks so they dodge the Dragoon shots, stepping them back down again, and he could have microed those 5 or 6 tanks like crazy and killed those Dragoons, but instead, with the Corsairs coming in, chasing away the dropships, there's no opportunity for micro, and he's actually forced to leave the tanks to their own devices. The tanks all die to the Dragoons. They get several Dragoons kills in exchange, but actually just a masterful play here by Kingdom. Very, very well done. Knowing that NaDa was going to be going for dropship play. I mean, it's just what the Terrans are going to do on an island map for the most part. It's just, I'm not exactly sure why, but I just feel like you never see them go Wraiths on a unless it's like an early harass thing or something like that. But usually it's dropship play for Terran versus Protoss on these island maps. So getting those Corsairs is a really interesting choice. He's used a lot of money to get those Corsairs there, and there's the fleet beacon. There's the fleet beacon. Now, is that, you know, he's probably going to shift into carriers now, which would be a very smart choice. But the choice to get the Corsairs first is interesting. Now, shifting into carriers means that the Stargates were not part of the investment in the Corsairs in a way. Like, if he was going to get Stargates anyway, it kind of makes sense, and now he has these Corsairs also. But, I mean, it just actually fits pretty well. I still don't know if the Corsairs can actually kill dropships fast enough, especially because dropships usually don't clump up very much. And if you want, you can make sure they don't clump up. So, you know, you might be able to kill one dropship. Unless they run right into your Corsairs. He's trying to drop units on the low ground here so he can get a little bit of advantage. And he does get some units down, but 2 dropships are killed. I think one of them might have had a unit or 2 left in there before it actually, got picked out of the air. NaDa now does counter and gets a Corsair or 2 with his Goliath that he was dropping the low ground. So you can see that there's kind of like... Again, we'll go back to the map here for a second. You can see that there's like this low ground area, which is an interesting shaped low ground, but there's like a low ground area stripe in between their 2 areas, basically. And so NaDa has dropped those units down in there. He wants to try and take control of the ground in between them. If he can do that, he can kind of, you know, choke off a lot of the opportunities for Kingdom to expand and get a lot of map control, and also just sort of push towards him as well. And if you can get tanks and Goliaths on the low ground outside of his main, then he can start dropping in and really sieging up onto those other parts of the map. So taking this low ground is a good choice here for NaDa. He really almost got caught. It could have been worse, I guess I should say, when those dropships were caught heading out by those Corsairs. But he has managed to secure control of the low ground here. And while Kingdom is switching to carriers, he's going to be able to keep it. But, and this is a nice, but this is a very Calipigian but. This, the carriers, once they're done, are going to dominate this map. There's ridges everywhere, and it's going to be, and even the areas on the low ground that are connected still have, you can see there's kind of like space spots in between them where the carriers can hide and juke and stuff back and forth. So this is NaDa. He's got the siege tanks on the low ground, and he's got disruption web for the siege tanks on the low ground so the Dragoons can kill the tanks on the high ground. Absolutely genius play. I love it. Oh my god. Disruption web in PvT. Oh, 2004 was a crazy time, ladies and gentlemen. But it works so well, and if he already made the Corsairs, and he's already made the fleet beacon to go carriers, it makes so much sense. I mean, I'm assuming he's going carriers. We haven't actually seen any carriers yet, have we? Maybe he just got the... Okay, there's some carriers. I was like, maybe he just got the fleet beacon for disruption mode because he's a boss. Anyway, wow. So NaDa, that is just genius play. Just so smart for Kingdom. I mean, this is the point where NaDa could win the game. He knew, like this is the point where he's got the low ground tanks, and he can push onto that high ground. It's at a timing when Kingdom does not have the carriers in play and dealing damage yet. It was the perfect moment to go for that attack and start pushing into Kingdom's main base, and the disruption webs shut it down completely. The dropship play earlier, the Corsairs shut it down completely. The move into his base, the disruption web shut it down completely. And so this is just absolute brilliant play by Kingdom. Now Kingdom is trying to expand to this sort of bottom, I guess 6 o'clock position here. And NaDa's not having any of it. He's made a little bit of a drop over here, but again, Kingdom coming in here with disruption webs on the tanks to keep his Dragoons alive. The Dragoons can deal with the Goliaths. The tanks are forced to unsiege and fall back, and the tanks can then, the Dragoons can harry them all the way back and deal more damage. And so he's actually going to lose this little force, and Kingdom is going to maintain control of the 6 o'clock location, which means he can maintain control of the whole bottom part of the map, hypothetically, I guess. NaDa's like, all right, well, you got the bottom, you got the right side of the bottom left. I'll take the top side of the bottom left, which is a really confusing way to refer to these parts of the map, but it's kind of like there's a top right half and a bottom left half. It's kind of like 2 big arenas, and they both spawn in the top right half, but NaDa spawn top middle, and Kingdom spawn side right in terms of the map. Anyway, it doesn't matter that much. So Kingdom is just really playing this map and this matchup extremely well, and this is just absolute genius moves here by him. I can see why this is in the top 100 list. And Kingdom actually putting down random gateways in the 9 o'clock area as well. Again, trying to take both halves of the bottom left half, if that makes sense. Moving in with carriers in the middle. While NaDa's distracted by trying to mess around in the bottom left area, he's like, oh, well, I've got these carriers and you don't have anything to stop them because all your Goliaths are on the left side of the map. Well, guess what? I can take the right side with the carriers. Picks off those tanks, picks off those turrets, and the command center is going to be next there at that expansion that NaDa was trying to take in the middle. NaDa's expanding very aggressively, by the way. And you know, it may just be the fact that all the units that he has, dropships, tanks, Goliaths, he can't really make a lot of other units other than those 3 feasibly. So he has a lot of extra money. So if you, sorry, minerals specifically. So if you got extra minerals, you can make command centers and float them all over the place on this map. Try and take more expansions and try and get more gas mines, essentially. Although, does there... I don't know if there's a gas mine at that spot there, but... in any case, NaDa now pushing out with a few dropships again. He's trying to continue to be mobile on the map. The carriers cannot be everywhere at once. The Corsairs cannot be everywhere at once. And NaDa dropping a ton of Goliaths. Pure Goliaths dropping out at this location. It looks like Kingdom wants to dispute this incursion into what he feels is his territory. He's running into Dragoons now. He probably should fall back to that ramp. And if he can fight with the Dragoons on the ramp and the carriers above them, he'll be able to take advantage of it. And it looks like he is moving in here with the carriers. Kind of a random disruption web there. Might have cast it earlier when the Goliaths were there. And oh, he's moved the carriers in too close to the Goliaths, and they're actually going to pick one off. The disruption web is not enough. He can still, I mean, you could, the units under disruption web, of course, don't fire, but they can still move if you command them to move. Or even if they're just on their way to the other side, they'll, you know, keep moving or whatever. So, disruption web doesn't do as much good. I think he could have theoretically, if he had more Corsairs, he might have had more energy. He could have put down a bunch of disruption web and just blanketed the whole area so that NaDa could not find a spot to fire from. Theoretically, but I don't think he has that many Corsairs. He started off with only 5 or 6. He's lost a couple here and there, so he's just kind of not making many more Corsairs. He's using those Stargates to pump out carriers, and so he's just kind of like not going too bullish on the disruption webs. Whereas NaDa is going very bullish on the dropships here. He might want to actually use a couple dropships to drop some of those SCVs to another base, because he's got a lot of idle SCVs in his main right there. In any case, NaDa now up to 5 dropships. I actually thought he had more. Maybe he does have more going to another location. But again, the carriers are kind of like not sure where to go. And they're just, the carriers have never been in the right spot to actually stop the dropships. But instead, he's had to respond to the Goliaths on the ground with the carriers. But they have been doing a very good job of that. So again, yeah, I mean, NaDa dropping on the left side randomly. Not really in a place that is too important right now. He's trying to secure locations so that he can actually take some territory. And actually, NaDa dropping, where is this on the, oh, this is the very bottom left corner here. So he does do a nice rolling drop here. He's going to take out one of Kingdom's bases, which is going to have an effect for sure. But Kingdom in the meantime says, you know, again, while your Goliaths are running around the map, sometimes effectively, sometimes not, my carriers are completely undisputed. And I'm just going to go around and slaughter everything you have. And actually the Goliaths here are kind of these are the Goliaths that we just saw him drop off earlier, so that's why they were dropped off here, is to be defense for this mission. He's trying to target down the command center. NaDa needs to repair it with more SCVs. It looks like he's repaired it with 3 or 4 SCVs, and it is enough to keep it from going down. The Goliaths are enough to chase the carriers away. It looks like he did actually claim a carrier's life. Knocked it out of the sky there for a second. Well, not for a second. He knocked it out of the sky permanently. But he's going after the armories now. Oh, no. That is actually a huge deal. If he gets both those armories, stops the upgrades, especially the attack upgrades are crucial. Actually, I guess versus interceptors, maybe the armor upgrades on the mech are pretty useful as well. Now that I think about it. NaDa doing a counter attack drop here to the bottom middle. And what is he doing? He's loading some back up. Maybe he thought he had won it, and so he was going to leave with some of them, but he's going to have to drop them back here because more Dragoons showed up. So a little bit of a misplay there, but it looks like NaDa is barely going to take control of that territory for a moment. Is he, though? 2 more Dragoons pop out of those gateways, but they're rallied and they're not doing anything, and so they actually are not firing for crucial seconds. So NaDa, it looks like, is going to take control of that bottom spot. But again, the carriers are just running around the map willy-nilly. There's just nowhere that NaDa can really stop him with the Goliaths. So the carriers are not going after NaDa's main. Sorry, I should say continuing to go after NaDa's main. We see the armories are completely gone, but he's now taking out NaDa's starport and his command center in the main as well, and he's taking out depots too. This is starting to really, really hurt NaDa's infrastructure. Luckily, luckily, Kingdom's Dragoons are just rallied out of those gateways and they're just dying to Goliath fire without firing a shot back. So NaDa is able to get some gains in that southern position, but I don't think taking out these gateways is as big of a deal as losing his main base right now. which if he loses those factories, actually, that could be a huge deal. He actually does manage to take out one carrier. The Corsairs come in here. They're just going to die to turrets, I guess. Maybe they're soaking up turret fire that could go to... He's taking out carriers here. Kingdom not microing his carriers away at all. Loses a couple carriers to those few Goliaths. A little bit sloppy here, but he is going to find that replacement armory, and he's going to take it out as well. So Kingdom is going to be able to polish that off the air. So again, this is really, really bad for NaDa, and I'm not sure, a little puzzled by Kingdom not camping those factories. And actually, is NaDa even mining right now? He might be just dead in the water at this point. Another secret armory at the top middle with an empty comsat station, meaning that that command center died, or was maybe floated over to take over another base. It looks like NaDa is really, really struggling to try and maintain control of a base that he can, and you know, he really get some economy. He's got these few Goliaths, and he's building really scrappy with them. Look at the carrier's actually almost taking out another carrier. This dropship is kind of following the carrier for some reason. The Goliaths are following us. Oh, he does get it! What just happened there? Wait, what? I didn't see what killed the carrier. Was there like a random Charon boosted missile from downtown that polished off that carrier? Or did he have a Goliath inside the dropship that dropped out and fired a shot real quick and then died or something? I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there, why that carrier died, but that was a little bit weird. Because it looked like he had gotten away. It looked like the dropship killed the carrier, basically. I wonder if he tried to attack the dropship and he accidentally attacked his own carrier with the other carrier or something. I don't know. In any case, okay, we do... Yeah, see, this is the thing. So NaDa is now going to be able to put out some more Goliaths and try and keep up the fight here a little bit. I feel like Kingdom missed a little bit of opportunity to just kill off those factories and be done with it. He went for those expansions, which weren't really doing anything, weren't really mining. He was hunting for armories, but if you just kill those factories, NaDa's pretty much dead in the water. But instead, NaDa is able to produce more units. He kept some of those dropships as well, so the Goliaths are going to come in here and drop down and try and preserve NaDa's last mining base here, ladies and gentlemen. But he doesn't have enough Goliaths to be in both places at once. In his main, protecting his infrastructure, and in his expansion, protecting his mining. And so I don't know how NaDa can honestly come back in this game. And really, this is one of those situations where you're like, oh, well, maybe he can come back. And then you look at the minimap and you're like, oh, well. In the meantime, Kingdom off camera has been taking all the bases. All the bases. Looks like he has 3 or 4 bases in the southern part of the map. The southern sort of quadrant, I guess. Looks like NaDa was maybe thinking about sending a couple dropships down there to try and deal with it, but he can't leave this base. He can't stop mining from this base. It's his only mining base right now. And he's trying to target down the command center. Oh no, the command center goes down. He doesn't repair it enough and fast enough. And the carriers en masse are just really good at popping buildings. And oh, NaDa does have top right. I didn't see that he had actually top right still mining, but still losing that base is just pretty terrible. I don't know if he's gonna be able to afford the money to actually try and build it back. Let's see if NaDa can pass $1 trillion spending bill to build back better his command center, but I think Kingdom is gonna try and put a stop to that. He's now going after those factories as well. NaDa's being really, really scrappy here, but again, Kingdom has 3 or 4 mining bases right now. NaDa has 1 mining base. And is just being scrappy with a handful of units. So I think in the long term, Kingdom is still going to be able to take this game. So there's 1, 2. The audience is probably mining minerals as well. 3, yeah, they're kind of going through his different bases. He's still got minerals in his main, even though he's not mining there anymore. Just a handful, a little backup minerals, little spot of backup minerals. And yeah, I mean, NaDa was like, oh, he left me alone. I can try and mine from this base again. And nope. Not gonna happen. He's up to like a dozen carriers now as well, so it's starting to get like to the undefeatable point, unless you... Oh? Covert Ops Lab for NaDa? Carriers wasting time hunting down SCVs? Is NaDa gonna pull off some kind of shenanigans? Is he gonna pull off some shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen? We have the Covert Ops Lab. Is he gonna get a nuke? Is he gonna try and do a nuke? Or is he gonna try and do lockdowns or something like that? I mean, if he can stall long enough to get, you know, 5, 7, ish ghosts or something like that. You know, if Kingdom comes in too far and he's able to lock down several carriers and take them out, I'm really grasping at straws here right now, but and the straws are cloaked, by the way, so it's really hard to grasp at them because you can't see them. In any case, yeah, it's gonna be really difficult for NaDa to try and pull something off here, but maybe ghosts would be the answer, or maybe at the very least ghosts would be a way to do something elite at the end of the game before GGing or something like that. Here he's ferrying 2 dropships coming over. A maximum of 8 Goliaths trying to join the fight. And another command center's gonna go down! He didn't repair it enough in time! Oh dear. I don't think we're gonna see the Ghost Dream, ladies and gents. I think the Ghost Dream is dead. He's researching Cloak over here, or so he was researching something at the Covert Ops lab, but is it a lab actually? I'm not sure what that add-on is called. Covert Ops Facility, I think it's called actually. That one ghost attacking interceptors with his canister shells. That one ghost versus the world. Now, if that ghost was Kerrigan, maybe she could pull it off. But I think it's just a normal ghost. So a really cool. I want to just go back and reiterate how impressed I am with Kingdom's progression through this game. The fast expansion, of course, into getting a few Dragoons to hold off any early harassment, into the Corsairs to deal with the dropships, which would have granted NaDa a lot of map control, forcing NaDa to play a little bit slower with his map control. And then when NaDa did take the middle ground to try and use the map control that he did get on the ground because of the air switch, or not the air switch, but the air tech, Kingdom used the Corsairs with Disruption Web to shut down the harassment and invasion of NaDa. Just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful play, just genius decision-making, genius strategy in this map, in this game. And then, of course, switching into carriers is kind of a no-brainer, but was still a good decision regardless. You know, you've got a giant island map with ridges everywhere, and a Terran that has mobility problems, and with his movement around the map of his troops. Not that, anyway. So the carriers just dominated the rest of the game, and NaDa put up a good fight, trying to run those Goliaths around with those dropships around the map over and over again. But it's just like, well, the Goliaths themselves can't quite just fly where they need to go, and the carriers can. And even though the carriers are slow, they're just too powerful. And you know, NaDa was also behind already, was the thing, you know? So he might have been able to pull off that kind of strategy and play if he'd had the economy and the control to have more factories pumping out more Goliaths and, you know, extra dropships that he didn't lose the Corsairs or something like that. It could have worked. It wasn't like, oh, carriers just automatically win versus dropship Goliaths. But in that situation, there was just not enough NaDa could do to keep up with the carriers, smashing his bases. And then when he went to defend with Goliaths, they went and smashed a different base, and he just couldn't build the bases or defend fast enough. So unfortunately, NaDa is gonna be walking away. And actually, don't. I mean, this is just one game of a group stage or something like that. I think this is the round of 16. So I don't know if NaDa he might have continued on in this series, but in any case, well done by Kingdom, and that was a great game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. Thank you very, very much for watching. GG.